Hey, this is Aaron, Grilling with Aaron. We're looking at prepping a 10-pound pork butt that I recently purchased from the local grocery store to throw on the smoker and start that whole process. So, okay, let's go ahead and get started here. So as I look at the pork butt, I noticed that, okay, it could be some trimming, but first thing what I do is I just look at the fat cap side of it first. So I'll take a look at here, and sure enough, I can do some trimming here. Just any loose fat you see. As you can see, I barely touched it, and this fat came loose. And what I usually do is I like to score the fat cap, just because as we mix up the spices, it helps the meat absorb and just adds more flavor to it. So usually what I do is I look it over real quickly, and usually I just let it go the way it is. And then I usually score the meat. So how I do that is I just get your knife and then you just put lines through it here. All I'm doing is just slowly putting some marks in here. So that way when I do seasons the pork butt, it'll absorb more into the meat. So as you can see, just a few marks here in the meat, and then I usually slay it over here and I just continue. I don't go too deep into the meat. Just your casual cutting strokes here in the meat is usually what I do. So I just keep doing this. All right, so basically at a high level, you can see right here, there's some grooves in the meat. So once we do put some rub on it, this will help absorb those spices in the homemade rub that I'll share the recipe with you here. But yeah, just ultimately looking at the meat in general and just making sure I scored it properly. And there's some gaps in here, which is totally fine. Do keep in mind this is a bone-in pork. So when I purchased this, it advertised at like 10.5 pounds. However, with the bone, it's going to be a little bit less than 10.5. And as the meat gets, heated up, and over time it will shrink as it's going into the smoker. So. But yeah, this is the first step here. And again, I just look it over just to make sure nothing unusual. And overall, I mean, not bad for a piece of meat here, just at your local grocery store. Right here is where the bone is. So when we're all done, this bone should come out clean when we're done with the whole smoking process. And when the meat's actually at 200 to 205 or so internal temp. But yeah. This is pretty much how you score it. And then the next fun part is to apply the rub, right? So I've seen people put like a binder on and things like that, but in this case, I'm not going to put a binder on because overall the existing, existing fat cap will help absorb the spices and keep it all in place. So for the rub, I'll just go over the ingredients here, but I'll put them up on the screen. So first thing we have here is just your regular salt. Then we have some black pepper. And then we also have some ground oregano. And again, I'll put the recipe for the rub on the screen here for y'all. Cayenne pepper. And then some, looks like we have some paprika here, as you'll see. And then we also have garlic powder. And then we have onion powder. Again, just ingredients you can pick up at your local grocery store. You have all those ingredients. Usually you just put it in a bowl, make your own rub. So right here I have the ingredients in the bowl ready to go. And then just to help with even distribution, I just like to mix it up here in a bowl here. So what I'll do is I'll just open up this whisk and I'll just whisk it all together here. Very, very simple. Okay, and when you feel like it has been whisked fairly enough here, you can look at it and just say, yep, it looks good in my opinion. Like again, nothing too crazy. Now the fun part begins. So I'll put my utensils away here. All right, so now what we want to do is apply the homemade rub we have, right? So usually what I do is I start out just sprinkling it over the rub. And what we're going to do is we're going to apply this rub across the pork butt. And we're going to let it marinate in the fridge overnight. So what I do is I just apply liberally all across the butt here. And just rub. You know, nothing too crazy. Just apply it as you go. Making sure that the whole butt in general has enough seasoning crossed. So, and you'll notice I only use one hand. This hand I like to keep dry in case if there's something else going on that I need to look at, or if I need to check a recipe, or you know, just have that one extra hand available. And you'll notice I am using gloves as well, so that it's just a thing that you can do. But yeah, I mean, it depends, and not everyone has gloves, so I just planned ahead a little bit. So yeah, I'm just applying the rub, obviously, as you can see. And then I'll make sure to get all sides of this pork butt, just because, you know, the more the better, right? So even on its side here, I'll apply some rub. And as you can see, I already used my other hand, so it's no longer dry or safe. You don't want any cross-contamination, of course. And I do have my cutting board as well as some parchment paper to help protect that. So, okay, that side looks good. And then we'll just, you know, continue on the process. You can see I'm still applying the rub here. And I got that one side here I need to do yet. So I'll just go ahead and do the other side. And I'll tell you what, folks, if you could smell this, it smells really good already. And usually when we're all done with this marinating process, in the fridge for about 10 to 12 hours usually, or longer. It depends on what your schedule is. But one thing about barbecue, you can't rush it. If you rush it, then usually you might get bad results. So, but yeah, overall, the pork butt is all rubbed, and we're good to go. And then what I do with the leftovers that I have, you can see, I used a little bit here. I'll just go ahead and apply that liberally around the butt, all across here, and it is. And what we'll do next here in a moment is we'll actually wrap this up, and we'll go ahead and let it marinate in our fridge overnight. And then in the morning, we'll go ahead and put this on the smoker. We're gonna start at 225. All right, so right now, it's laid on the cutting board at least. And then what we'll do is we'll take the butt and we'll start wrapping it. Yeah, so overall, it is seasoned. It looks really good. And like I said, the smells on this thing is pretty darn good just for a rub that you can make homemade at your time. You don't need to go out and buy, like, you know, there's a bunch of rubs out there, like for Jack Daniels. But hey, I mean, don't get me wrong. Those rubs are fantastic to use. I just decided to go the homemade route for this cook in general, because I know a lot of people actually like the rub that I usually do. Now, as I'm just wrapping up the pork butt. And what I'll end up doing is I'll probably put it in a aluminum foil in the fridge. That way, in case if this does end up leaking overnight, it won't be a huge mess in the fridge. So that's one thing I learned right away about this is, hey, what if this happened? Well, you have a backup plan, right? Okay, so what I did there is I just cut some of this out and apply it, and then what I'll do here is I'll grab some more of this wrap, and then I'll do the other side real quick, and then we should be in good shape. Again, the same thing, just wrapping it in a few layers here. That way it is ready to go. There you are, folks. This thing is wrapped and ready to go, and I'll just go ahead and get this cut off here. Okay, that looks good. Look at that. We are ready to go for overnight marination, as I call it. So we're good to go. It's packed tight. It's looking really good. It looks just like a package you get in the mail, right? Nice, tight, compact. And then what I'll usually do then is I do have aluminum foil, like a pan. And just to show you an example, this isn't the official pan, obviously, because it has the label on there, but usually what I'll do is I'll put the pork butt in general in there, put it in your fridge, and you're good to go. All right, well, the next step is we're gonna let this marinate in the fridge overnight, and we're gonna go ahead and get this on the smoker. Hey friends, this is Aaron Grilling with Aaron. We are up and at 'em this morning here, and what I'm looking to do is go ahead and put that pork butt in the early morning and get it started. So as you can see, I'm preheating the pellet Woodridge Elite Series grill to 225. Right now we're at 120 degrees, but I just wanted to show you all just what we're dealing with for today on the grill. So what I did was I fired up the hopper and put pellets in, and today we're going to be smoking with the Traeger Signature Blend. And the Signature Blend is essentially just a mixture of pellets is what they advertise here. It has maple, cherry, hickory, hardwood blend that they put in here in the bag. And then just show you all real quick what the hopper looks like. So pretty much we're ready to go for that long smoke for today. Yeah, overall, I mean, I'm pretty pleased with how fast this thing heats up. We're already at 130 degrees. At 225, it'll hold temperature as we go through the day. As you can see, I have a wired probe. Sometime in the future, I plan on getting a wireless. Yeah, everything is working out quite nicely already this morning. And I'll just give you a quick tour. I mean, I already have the thing open, so we are ready to go, folks. This thing is ready to go. I am keeping it in aluminum foil pan just because I want to collect all of the goodness and drippings that are going to happen here in the next, 10 plus hours as we smoke low and slow. So ultimately, we are ready to go. And what I can do is probably just sit back and relax and watch this thing come to life. And I can monitor it remotely from my smartphone through the Traeger app. All right, I'll see you back in a couple hours. All right, I thought this would be a good time to have a check on the pork butt here. We're going at about just under 5 hours now in the cook. We started this at 5:30 this morning. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and take a quick check on the meat, see how it's doing. And I'm also gonna go ahead and spritz it with some apple juice. So I have apple juice here ready to go in a spritzer bottle. I just purchased this from our local dollar store here in town. So let's go ahead and take a look. Yeah, I mean, so far it's looking pretty good, guys. Go ahead and zoom in here for y'all. Yeah, there it is. This is about just under 5 hours into the cook. It's starting to get a nice, juicy looking flavor, which is awesome. And then, like I said, I'll go ahead and spritz this up with some apple juice here. I don't know if you all can hear that, but it's sizzling right now as you spritz this. All right, we should be good to go. We'll just keep on monitoring this cook as we continue to let this thing go low and slow. Hey friends, it's Aaron here, Grilling with Aaron. Just got notified that the pork butt is officially done. We started this thing at 5:30 a.m. this morning, and we're looking at time right now. It has been about 12 hours total cook here. Low and slow at 225, so let's go ahead and take a look. Yeah, look at that. That is, it looks really good. I did add a couple brats here, just because, I had this thing going on all day here. And I figured, you know what, if I have this thing going, I might as well throw some Johnsonville brats on the smoker and the grill. So here we are. That is the pork butt. And we'll go ahead and wrap this up and let it rest for about an hour.